Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by the amazing, the inimitable Shannon D.
That's me.
That's
hey
fun.
Guys.
That's me, Shannon D. Rhymes.
I know. I always do that.
Oh, I never caught it before.
Really?
It was like a little subtle. It was a little Easter egg.
Yeah, I do it every time. That's me. And here's Chonky. We got our little stuffed animals.
Got my little duck boy here. I guess technically a goose, but we're calling him a duck, guys. Go with me on it.
And mine's a seal. If you're watching on YouTube, go check him out. He's very
Love
comfy, cozy.
Yeah, you wrote here. We got a little PSA about you're handling the stickers now. Thanks so much for doing that.
Sending out the stickers now, guys. So we did have like a bunch of return to senders. So I'm just saying out there, if you never received your stickers, like go to AITApod.com and then you can re-put your address in, or like maybe we wrote it wrong, or maybe you entered it wrong. So just like double check. And so we didn't want you to think we left you hanging, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, maybe triple check, please, because it costs us money to send you stickers. We want you to at least get them.
That's true. How much are stamps these days?
They're so much.
Wait, how much?
I got them at Walgreens. They're like 50 cents a pop. And I was like, hey, I need some stamps. And he's like, okay, it's $14. And then he was like, wait, what? Are these stamps? And I was like, yeah, dude, that's how much stamps cost now.
Wait, really? The guy?
The employee was like shook. I was like, yeah, dog. Welcome to 2023, homie.
I know. How much were they when we were kids?
I mean, they were 35 cents for a long time, but I feel like they were
right?
15 cents in my lifetime. Is that crazy?
I know. I think
Maybe
that makes sense. I mean, they were like 1 cent at one point in the world.
Oh, God. But
not that we have to, well, I guess we have to send them out more often, but like I'm not usually sending mail too often where it like affects my life usually.
Yeah, I send a couple little letters to people. It's kind of fun, actually.
You do?
I recommend
That's
it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I need to start doing that. Actually, my sister's always been really good about like, she was always good about sending like Christmas cards and stuff to like my grandparents, because that was such their thing, like especially that generation. And I was like, damn, I was bad granddaughter. I didn't do that.
Yeah, bad granddaughter.
I mean, I got honor.
It's just a cool thing to open up a letter from someone.
It is. You're writing like a full letter. It's like
I write
card.
one person letters. Yeah, we trade letters.
Oh, you're a pen pal.
Yeah, we're pen pals.
I used to have a pen pal in Australia when I was a kid.
No joke.
Because it was my
Oh
parents.
yeah, that was so fun. That was your parent. It was a personal thing.
Yeah, it was my parents' friends' kids.
Parents, friends. That's cool.
Yeah, I forget her name.
We did it as like a school thing. That's where I thought you were going.
Oh, yes, I have heard about that before, though.
But it was like one or two back and forth and then ghosted forever.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're a kid.
It is. It is. But yeah. Stickers.
So we got to talk more here. Food hungover.
I just like have a food hangover
right now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually happy you're bringing this because I had a food hangover this week.
You did?
Yeah. What happened? Take me through it.
Well, I went to a Friendsgiving last night and the food was amazing.
Yeah.
And there was so much of it. Like everyone brought a lot of stuff, which like I didn't even realize how much stuff everyone's bringing. Like I kind of was like, I just brought like a store-bought pecan pie and like ice cream. And I was like,
that's fucking great though. I love pecan pie.
Good. Thank you. But everyone was bringing like really homemade stuff and then like really bougie desserts. So I felt like really underprepared.
Pecan pie will fucking go toe to toe with some of the best desserts in the world.
Yeah, I heated it up with ice cream on top. That's like pretty good, right?
Great.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm feeling better
I
about
love
it
that
then.
shit.
But the food was so good. And I literally went back for like 6 different helpings
standard fare
throughout the night. Yeah,
turkey.
I wasn't really into not turkey actually, which I was happy about. Like she did chicken and then tri-tip.
Oh god!
And then this like cornbread like casserole.
Ooh.
So good. Mac and cheese.
I would just
stuffing that was incredible.
No. Wow, yeah.
Mashed potatoes, these like other kind of like smashed potatoes, mac and cheese, peas, mushrooms. It was
thanks for the invite.
I know.
Oh my God.
Well, these were the acupuncturists. They don't like you.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Actually, no thanks for the invite. I'm happy you didn't invite me.
And so,
how's the food? Does it taste pseudoscientific? Is that how it tastes? That's for the people on the bonus. You're going to get that.
Yeah, the patrons look at it.
So it wrecked you.
I feel like shit right now.
Yeah.
I feel so disgusting. Like I woke up in the middle of the night like feeling so bad. And I just feel like literally hung over. Like I haven't eaten today. I think I might not eat until like later in this afternoon. My stomach is hurting.
I feel you. It's such a bad feeling. It kills my productivity too. Like I can't think straight.
Oh yeah, what was yours? You just like went to town?
So I'd ordered poke when on our recording day.
Ooh.
And so the timing of it
Oh,
was
gotcha.
basically it came too late for me to eat it at a logical time. I don't like to eat right before the gym, so that'll always get all burpy and nasty.
Yeah.
So I left it in the fridge, and then I woke up the next day and I was like, "Oh, poke! I'm in a nice, refreshing little poke breakfast." It fucked me up the entire day.
Well, that was probably because maybe it was bad.
I was only 1 day old.
Yeah, like not even like 12 hours, right?
I mean, barely. Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe 18
I don't
hours.
know. People are like,
Don't let it sit.
yeah.
Maybe. I felt as salty. If I have too much salt, I
Oh.
get like a salty mouth. It's this feeling and I hate it.
Yes.
And I was like over drinking water and like, yeah, I mean, this is 30. This is 30. You get food hungover. You gotta moderate. I mean, I'm not going to for Thanksgiving. I mean, thanks,
No,
EG.
and that's what I kept
It's not
saying.
what
I'm
it's
like,
for.
tis the season. Like, this is the time I'm supposed to be overeating.
I think you got to force yourself. That's my strategy. You have to pre-drink water. If you have lots of water in you, you'll fill up faster and it's a better way to go.
I know, but then like when I can't monitor what I'm eating and then I filled up with water too, then it's like double whammy.
Well, no, you got to pre-game with water.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
I
think it could work. I think it could work.
And also I didn't eat much during the day in preparation. You know how sometimes when you do that, your stomach is like smaller.
Yeah,
Like they say that
yeah.
you're supposed to eat earlier in the day on Thanksgiving to make sure that
Right.
not all of a sudden you're like, ugh. But I just couldn't stop. The food was so good.
It's tough.
And I even
It's
got
tough.
a plate of leftovers that I'll probably eat later, but I don't even know if they're going to hit the same because
Yeah.
I'm still going to eat them though.
Hey, you deserve it.
I do.
It's thanks, EG. You know, you can't be guilting yourself.
It is. Yeah. I mean, you guys are going to be hearing this way later, but it's the Saturday or Sunday before Thanksgiving. So Danny's going home
Yeah.
and I'm staying here.
Oh, and thanks for your great advice. I guess this could pertain to you guys in Christmas, I suppose. But Shannon was like, do not leave the day before Thanksgiving or it'll be 12 hours from LA to Phoenix.
I've done that before when my parents lived in Phoenix. 12 hours, like
Nightmare.
not even
Kill
exaggerating
me.
at all.
I
It was
don't wanna
terrible.
Go. I'm going to go early. Cool. Well, we've got a juicy little ep of listener submissions here that Shannon put together. We love to see it, people. You can
right.
submit on our subreddit.
Mhm.
reddit.com/r/AITA pod. We love to see it.
Sure do.
Our second story of the day, AITA for ghosting someone for eating my soup. But first, Shano.
AITA for crop dusting a new consignment shop. I, 32F, used to shop at the absolute best thrift store in an artsy part of town. It was a vibe. The shop always had such great affordable finds at great prices. Sadly, they were pushed out due to a rent hike and replaced by a new shop that passes themselves off as the same concept. Awesome designer and other known brand finds sold secondhand. I decided to check them out after months of mourning the old shop. Outside was a suspicious sign claiming a 20% markup would be coming after Thanksgiving. I continued inside. The vibes were excellent, aside from a 20-something bored-looking security guard posted by the entrance. For a moment, I thought the area had actually managed to avoid further gentrification until I looked at the price tag on a coat on the nearest rack. $999. What?
That ain't no thrift.
No. I continued aisle by aisle. Coats, shoes, pants, dresses, all not more than $5 less than you could buy them from their OG stores. Semi-damaged items were marked down, but good or perfect condition, full, outrageous price. I think now is a good time to tell you that I am gluten sensitive. And I had grabbed a burger from Wendy's earlier that day because I wanted one enough to suffer a little. Well, I was so angry at this store for duping the locals into thinking they might have a worthy replacement for the last shop that I calmly continued perusing aisle by aisle and letting little silent but deadlies out as I weaved my way from the back of the store to the front. Seems a small price for them to pay, and I certainly felt better in more ways than one as I waltzed out the front door, smiling at Mr. Board Security as I went. Soak it in, gentrifiers. So AITA.
Well, not the most substantial situation we've ever covered. I do think this is a thing, though. This is an emerging trend. I ran into
Crop
this
dust.
to fart. Yeah. So farting, it's crazy, guys. So your butt, no. People getting angry about thrift stores. There's actually a new subreddit that popped into my feed. Have you heard of this? Thrift Grift.
Yep. I haven't heard of this subreddit, but I think I know what you're talking about, where it's like all of even Goodwill, like every thrift store these days, the prices are jacked up to absolute hell because thrifting has become a huge hobby. And a lot of people are then buying the clothes and selling them on sites like Poshmark and Depop, or just in general, like secondhand clothing has become more popular. I do it a lot. It's like the main way I like to get my clothes because I also think it's like very environmentally friendly.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
also usually getting more unique finds too. So then you're not just looking like, the trendy thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been seeing like videos, like TikToks and stuff of people that will go into thrift stores and like it'll be like, let's see if this is more money than what they sell it at. It's like a Zara tank top they're selling for like $20. And then they look on the Zara website and it's like a $12 tank top. They're selling it more at the secondhand stores. So is that what the subreddit is? Something like that?
Yeah, expensive stuff at thrift stores. I mean, I haven't really thoroughly analyzed it, but that's the idea. People are angry. It's got 50,000 subscribers. This is like an underlying thing. And
well, especially for people that like really can't afford it, and thrift shops were the places that they were getting their clothes because they couldn't afford to shop at regular stores. Now it sucks.
I see it as part of a much broader trend of just lower and middle class people getting squeezed because why are they raising prices? Because they can. Because they fucking can. It kind of happened similarly in the car market as well. But not to go full economics on this, let's face it. This is a person farting on a store that they don't like. Is it funny? It's funny, but like I guess I would say I don't really think this is very effective. I don't really think anyone was harmed, but I think
it's
leave a review.
Yeah, I think it was like kind of for her own little like feeling good within herself. Like I doubt even the security guard even said, and she does say in the edit that the store was almost empty. My fellow locals clearly learned this thrift shop was BS too. Sooner after it opened than my visit. I do know like this type of store that she's talking about though. Like I actually went into one the other day and it's like, it passes off as like kind of like a consignment shop / I guess like thrift or vintage store, but they also have like weird new things. And like a lot of it too is like fake designer that I feel like they're trying to pass off as real, or they do have real stuff, but then it's like hard to tell if that's real because they have such blatantly obvious like fake stuff. And then, there's like sometimes new stuff in there too. So you're like, well, wait, I don't really understand. Like, is this secondhand? So I'm like kind of getting a sense that that's this. I'm not really exactly sure how this is like gentrification, I guess, just because the prices are so outrageous.
I think that's what she's on about. It's for a fancy clientele. My neighborhood we already have a lot in Echo Park, like that little drag right by my house. There's like at least 2 or 3 thrift stores right there. Vintage. Yeah. It's not thrift.
And vintage stores are always way more expensive.
There's now another one like right by me. And I'm like, cool, just what I always wanted. A fucking oyster place that costs $1 million next to a thrift store that costs $1 million next to the worst Mexican food I've ever had in my life. Sorry.
Yeah. I know. You have to be careful at vintage shops. Like I love vintage shops. Like one of my favorite hobbies is like going into vintage shops and like, I try not to buy everything or something every time, but it's just cool to see like old clothes and but you do have to really be careful. Like even at like stores like Buffalo Exchange and stuff, because actually I just sold a bunch of clothes there, and you just want to be careful about like the brands that you're buying. Like you want to also make sure you're buying good quality as well, and not just like this one freaking vintage shop near me like has shady t-shirts like on this rack, and they're like $40, $50 shitty t-shirts. Like it's not even like a cool like band tee or like something that's like old school that's kind of fun and funky. No, they're just straight up like old ratty shirts for $50. So I think you just have to be like kind of more conscious of like buying good quality as well.
I feel like the scam economy is exploding. I have like two things adjacent to this. I ordered SD cards for the pod off Amazon. They were counterfeit off fucking Amazon.
Wait, really?
Yes. I put them in the camera on the normal setting that I always use, and they didn't record.
Oh.
And I was like they would record, but only for 7 seconds, which means there's like a memory problem.
Oh, yeah.
So then I was like, I have this exact memory card and I know it records at this setting. So I started studying the box and I found multiple typos. I was like, I don't think SanDisk would make that typo.
Oh, yeah.
They took the return, but I'm like, actually, this is like not really about like just returning it. Like, you scammed me.
You
like,
shouldn't be selling. This product
it.
should not be on Amazon.
It's fucking insane. No letter. I tried to submit it. Fuck it. Fuck you, Amazon.
Right now, I'm sort of dealing with that. My mom got me a Dyson Airwrap for Christmas 2 Christmases ago, and it broke recently. And so I was like, hey, like, do you have the receipt? Can you? And she's like, I can't find it anywhere. She finally found it. And I've been emailing with Dyson. They're like, that serial number isn't valid, I think. And she bought like this thing is like $500. And I think like Dyson was sold out at the time. So she got it from some like lame website. And I'm pretty sure it's fake. Like, we haven't completely solved it yet, but
oh my God,
and
I'm
it
so
looks
sorry.
so real. It looks so real.
Were you disappointed in the performance?
Well, not until it broke, but like I was just like, oh, whatever. It like broke. I just thought it was, so
it had worked in a Dyson way.
It did, yeah. But who knows? Like, maybe the real Dyson does work better than this. Like, I'm not exactly sure.
Missing. I'm sorry, shit. The real Dyson does work better. Are you kidding me? It's Dyson, okay?
I know. Okay. So I don't really know what to do. Like, at this point, I'm like, well, now what do I do with this like counterfeit broken? Like, I guess I could go to a shop that like just randomly fixes things and try and get it fixed. But like at this point, like I definitely can't sell it or anything. It's called livingbing.com.
Okay, that was sorry. YTA your mom. YTA your mom. Living Bing.
I was like, Mom, why did you buy it from there? Because I even sent her a link from like a refurbished one. I sent her a link from Nordstrom Rack, like a refurbished one. Because I was like, it's fine. Like, you can get a cheaper refurbished one. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
No, and she even paid like full price for the
I feel like if you go to livingbing.com, their slogan is like, we promise we're not a scam.
I know.
Like, it's the most obvious thing.
I know, and then I looked it up more recently, and yeah, it's like they say it's a scam website.
That's hilarious. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a bummer. The one adjacent to this in New York, I see this all the time. I don't think I've seen it in LA. Going out of business sale, everything 50% off. And it's kind of the same thing, right? You think you're getting a deal and that biases you. And that's why you think a $20 shirt is reasonable, but it actually costs $12.
Right.
And you'll notice it. And then you go and you're like, I don't really know these brands. Like, Facost, is that a brand? And like everything's all off a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of grifts in this economy. I'm fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
AITA for crop dusting a new consignment shop. I think this was a harmless thing. Pretty funny. I love you, OP. You fart on this. I mean, give them a review bomb them too, don't just flatulent bomb.
Yeah, you could definitely it just seems like you don't like the shop. So it's kind of like, I don't know. There's also a world where you could have just like moved on, but I do like, just a small little revenge that you can feel better about, especially because it was a store that you like so beloved and they were kind of like trying to dupe you guys a little bit. But I can't really call the store. Do we want to call the store an asshole? Maybe because they're just making the prices so much.
I don't know. I guess the only angle I could come from with that is like, it's kind of like you said, thrift stores are like kind of something that helps lower class people. So it's like, you're kind of like, how can we profit off food banks? It's like, actually, those aren't really for profit. Those are for poor people to have food. You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of my only angle. But I guess,
but my only argument back to that is like, this seems like it's more of like a vintage shop in a way. And like vintage shops are not meant for lower class people per se. Like a lot of times vintage shops are like, their prices are gonna be expensive. I do like this comment though. Middle Platypus 2667 says, no assholes here. What you did was harmless and quite well crafted. I won't call the store an asshole though, only because they aren't obligated to be like the old shop. This is a new place, and while it is shitty, it's just business.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable signing on for it's just business, but I'll sign on for it's probably just a small business and whatever.
And I do like her point of like you're not obligated. They're not obligated to be like the old shop, but it would piss me off too. So I like your little revenge here.
I think we agree. No assholes here.
Yeah, no assholes here.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Over 180 bonus episodes. So many bangers, so much juice. You won't even believe it, folks. By the way, a great Christmas gift we got right around the corner for your SO who's been flirting with it. And we love to see it. Join us on our Discord. We hope we see you there. Much love. Here we go. AITA for ghosting someone for eating my soup. I, 27F, moved to New York, and someone from my hometown, Rachel, 26F, recently moved here too. She reached out to hang out a few times, and I was happy to meet up. Moving here was an adjustment, so I empathized with her needing a friend. Now, we never hung out before. I knew Rachel because she was on my little sister's soccer team. We met up for a Sunday brunch in Chinatown. Ugh, I'm so jealous. At the start of the meal, we both talked about missing the Mexican food at home. I'm first-gen Mexican-American, so I said I'd be happy to make her something sometime. I love cooking and the occasional hosting. What got weird was when we were ordering food, she was like really rude to the wait staff. I never ate with someone who taps their finger on the table to get wait staff's attention and loudly complains about the service and lack of menu options in front of everyone. Rachel was very hungover, so I thought maybe she was just not feeling well, but it was brunch on a Sunday, so I expected it to be busy. The cherry on top was when I asked the waitress for an egg drop soup. The waitress confirmed with the both of us, just one? And we both said, yep, just one small soup. The soup came around and I was enjoying my soup, but noticed Rachel kept looking at my soup. As soon as I put my spoon down, she reached over, took my soup and slurped away using my spoon, then gave it back.
Ooh.
We had a few plates. We were eating family style, which I do with many people, but I never had anyone take my soup like that. I waited with her while her Uber driver pulled up to make sure she got home okay. The Uber was slowly driving past us looking for her, and she aggressively hit the back of the Uber with her palm to get the car to stop.
Oh, wow.
That was literally our first time hanging out. And she kept mentioning how as the youngest in her family, she's used to getting things her way. Is that how being the youngest works?
Not for me.
I stopped talking to Rachel after that, but she reaches out via IG and occasionally responds to my stories of homemade meals, asking if she can come over. I wouldn't think twice about not continuing this friendship, but I started our meal by saying, I'd be happy to have you over, which I regret doing, and feel like a jerk for ghosting and for saying that prematurely. I honestly don't think we have anything in common. I feel like she just wants me to cook for her. AITA.
Oh, wow. Rachel sounds like a delight.
Christ, Rachel, get your shit together, girlfriend. I mean, she's 26, so...
You're a full-grown adult then.
You're a full-grown adult, but I don't know. I was working on this bit where it's like when you're kind of a hot mess in your 20s, it's like, oh, Rachel, she's a hot mess. But when you're 30s, it's like you're dysfunctional. Like you are not functioning correctly. Like
true.
But yeah, I mean, obviously she's a nightmare.
Oh my God. Yeah. She sounds awful. I mean, first of all, I don't know what the whole thing with, because like, you know, usually with soups, like when you order at a Chinese restaurant, they're usually individual, right? Or at least the Japanese restaurants, like the miso soup that you get and like a salad and stuff. Like usually those are like, if it's not in a big bowl and then you both get bowls, like, yes, this is an individual soup. And like, I'm sorry, but like cereal or soup or anything with a spoon, I'm not sharing my food like that.
Is it anything with a spoon or liquid, right? You share rice.
Yes. I think it's like, I don't know. Anytime anyone like tried eating my cereal when I was a kid or something, like it gave me the biggest ick. I'm like, no, like something about the spoon, like liquid, I guess.
Yeah.
But like the spoon being like fully submerged.
It becomes
like,
their germ soup.
There's no way that like your germs aren't just all over 100%. The liquid.
You just made out with that person, basically.
Yes.
It becomes a makeout soup.
Oh, yeah. Like, and with someone you're just meeting, basically. This is unhinged. To not even ask.
It was the only point I could defend Rachel on, though.
Wait, what though?
Because I guess they were eating family style, so I was like, maybe was she just confused?
Oh, maybe she thought that the one soup meant like we're gonna share.
That's how I took it. That seemed to be the whole meal. That was my only point of the only other point of defense. Rachel hitting the back of the Uber in New York City. That's like, you know.
Oh, that's normal?
That's maybe not normal, but I wouldn't like hold it against someone. It's like chaotic.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. These Ubers it's intense.
To hit someone's car though.
Whatever, it's a car. It's not like the car has feelings, you know.
Well, mine does.
Yeah, of course. Well, you have a Prius. That's not really a car.
They're
It's a
very
person. It's a person. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that's just weird. Hitting back of it. I guess if it was just that, I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. They were just trying to get her attention. I think it was a third strike.
It was a holistic picture. Third strike. Yeah. I mean, this girl's all over the place.
Yeah.
Even just vocalizing, I'm the youngest, so I get my way.
That's weird.
That's not really an out loud thing to say.
No. And you can't just live your life around that and to other people.
Yeah. Do you think that applies here? I don't think you're the youngest here. There's babies here, Rachel.
Yeah, true. I don't know. That is so weird. And also, like, it is funny because when I was reading this, I was thinking about how, like, there are certain tropes about, like, depending on where you were born in your family, there are, like, kind of stereotypes, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But they're almost kind of different for every family. Like, I've heard, like, you know, the youngest child gets away with more sort of thing. Have you heard like that?
That's true in my family, yeah. It was really more like my mom was like, oh, we were a little bit tight with Danny. Let's maybe loosen up the reins a little bit.
Yes, that's like another
Which interestingly made my brother a better person. So now he got more fun and he didn't fucking drink a lot and have all these problems. So it's not great for you, Andy.
It's all trial and error, you know? But yeah, then there's some where, yeah, like I guess... Yeah, you can get away with more, like not as much attention is on you when you're younger and like maybe you're like more strict or like the older one like gets in more trouble. And then I guess like getting your way is also worth the younger one. But I've also heard older ones get their way too. Like, I don't know. There's just always different like stereotypes around it. But I guess in this scenario, I also feel like for her, it's like her family almost plays into that too.
That was another thought I had with the soup thing. I was like, maybe this girl is kind of like under socialized and like, yeah, you might share soup with your family.
Right.
So that's like her model here. She's like, and you know, not to be like totally stereotypical, but like she just moved to the city from her hometown. So maybe she's a little bit of a townie.
Yeah, it could be that too. I think I've talked about this on the pod before, but like when I was first having roommates, like more as an adult, like there were definitely some things where it's like stuff in my family where it would just be like sharing each other's clothes because I have a sister, and then
that you expected that?
Well, I would just kind of do it without like asking.
You would wear your roommate's clothes without asking?
Yeah, because it was just like a thing that I like always did with my sister.
Record
like,
scratch at what the fuck, Shannon.
I
you
know.
went into your roommate's closet and we're just like, let's see what we can cook here.
Yeah. Isn't that bad?
Wow. The fact that you just dropped this like it was like nothing is so interesting.
Well, and then like the whole like I've talked about like kind of like stealing their food a little bit.
Well, like, yeah, but everybody gets tempted with the food. But there's something more violating about like, I'm sorry, you went in my closet and you're wearing my clothes. Like, are you pretending to be me? It's so weird.
No, it's not that. It's just I wanted to wear their clothes.
But how did that play out? Did they catch you?
Well, she texted me. This is the roommate that I always had the problems with. Where it really does feel like I was the problematic one.
You were, Shannon. You wore clothes.
Her story is probably way different than mine.
She's still in therapy.
So yeah, I like woke up to a text when because she also only ever had a brother. So I think she was like even more especially not used to like sharing clothes.
Got it.
And yeah, I woke up to like a really long text message being like, you need to ask me, or like, what the fuck kind of thing.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm just saying there was like life lessons I really had to learn as a young adult of like, you don't just like eat people's food and you don't just like wear their clothes without asking and like and
all the classic lessons we all come to learn.
I know my family, like we have a hard time with
That's
boundaries for sure, I think.
Okay.
So, and also like I grew up with like my two best friends, our families and my next door neighbors. We all just would go over each other's houses all the time. So we all would just like eat each other's food, like go into each other's fridges, like go into each other's cabinets and stuff. Like it was just sort of how we functioned. Like literally my next door neighbors were like our best friends. And it was almost like we had two houses. Like even when the other person wasn't home, we would go in and like look in their fridge and see what they
Look at
had.
their fridge?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I don't even know
We
what's
like had no
happening anymore.
boundaries and we all would go over each other's houses and it was like it was our own home.
Yeah.
And we never asked.
And it was chill.
Oh yeah, we all did it.
The parents did it too to the other fridge or the kids?
It was mostly the kids.
It was the kids. Okay,
yeah.
that's making more sense.
I don't think
now.
it would
Okay.
be the
Picturing your mom
parents.
be like, "We're out of eggs. Let me go check our other fridge."
No,
That's insane.
I don't think so.
That's really cute.
No, but all the kids would just like run over to each other's houses and stuff. And so I think just because I grew up that way, like I just sort of had weird boundary issues that I had to. So I'm just saying like seems like it's her new or first time and like, well, definitely a big city. And so just, maybe she's got some weird things that she just never grew out of yet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we have mounted a pretty good like understanding of Rachel. Nonetheless, OP, it's not your duty to teach this person how to be a human being.
No, and also you have no obligation to be this person's friend. Like I'd do the same thing as you, just ghost them. Honestly, I would block them from seeing your story so that they can't even reply.
That's pretty reasonable.
Because we did have one comment saying like, oh, I don't know, like maybe you should like talk to her and be honest and be like, I'm not interested and I'm not comfortable. I'm like, I think just ghost and I think block her from your story. And I don't think you owe this person a conversation. You're not that good of friends. It seems like you only knew her because she was on your little sister's soccer team. Like I've had people in my life that like seem like maybe they're a little bit more interested in like having a friendship with me than I am with them. And I kind of do have to like ghost their story every now and then. Like
you mean ghost, they'll reply to your story and you ghost it?
Yeah, like just to kind of create a little bit of a distance between us because I don't know, they had like a little bit of like toxic behaviors and stuff that I just wasn't interested in, but I didn't know them well enough to be like, hey, I'm not comfortable with our friendship. Like,
I agree with that. I think that's part of it. It's like there's some people I don't want to get into it. Like I don't owe you an explanation, but like some people just I have that exact thing. It's like somebody did something that rubbed me the wrong way. I don't hate them, but I don't have any desire to meet up or get closer.
Right. You look like kind of see their true colors a little bit, and you're just like, oh, you're not the type of person like I really want to.
You gave me some ick.
Fuck with, yeah.
Got a little bit icks from you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think this girl's giving off much ick, and I think this is. I guess I just feel like this is something I've heard from women prior. I'm not saying all women. I guess I just don't really feel like men fall into this, but it feels like OP has become almost like horrifically trapped by the statement she made. Like I feel like that's a big source of her guilt, and I think OP, it's what you said was a nicety. It was offered. I would say be judicious about saying, what is it that she said exactly? She said, I'd be happy to have you over.
Yeah.
I do believe that learning to value your own word and being careful with it is a great life skill.
Right.
Because you do want to stick to what you say. That's important. That said, we're all going to get into situations, and try as I might, obviously I still fall into this trap at all. I mean, Sarah was one of the first people to call this out. She goes, I hate when guys at the end of a date say, yeah, I'll hit you up soon, or I'll see you soon.
Yes.
And she's like, don't say that unless you mean it.
Right.
And I think it's honestly, it's classic. It's not nice, but it's kind. It's like, don't fuck with that person if you don't have an intention to do it.
Yes. I've actually been trying to get better about like, cause I feel like I offer myself to help people, like, and I'm trying to like honor myself more of like, no, like you actually don't have the time to do that. Like you don't have to like offer that extra step. Like that's not really necessary. And like, they're not asking for it. So, well, just the other day, actually, my neighbors, they went on a trip and they accidentally left their key in their door. And they realized it like as
oh my God, this is my nightmare. I always do that. I'm like, I left my key. I left the oven. Oh God.
Yeah.
They did it. They left their key in the door. Oh my God.
And so they were like at the airport or already there or something. And then she texted me like, oh my God, are you home? And I actually happened to have been at just getting to class. And so I even for like a split second was like, oh my God, should I like drive home? But then I'd be like late for class and stuff. But then I was like, do you have some, I like was looking to see it. We have another friend that lives not far away. I was going to maybe see, but anyway, they got a hold of one of our other neighbors and they did it. So then I was about to volunteer and being like, well, do you want me to grab the key from him? So then you can just get it from me. Cause we're closer friends. So it'd be like probably more convenient to be able to, but then I was like, why am I offering that extra?
Yes.
Like now it's like something I need to put on my to-do list. Like coordinate with him to get the key. Like,
fuck that.
And so I was like, why would you offer that?
Yes, Shannon.
So I didn't. But I feel like I do things like that a lot where I'm like trying to kind of like help other people. But I'm like, wait, you don't have the time for that. Or like, why are you adding that to your plate?
No, fuck them. That's their bad.
No, yeah. I didn't. They weren't expecting that. And
that's so fascinating though. So you have like this impulse to like, add to your own to-do list. Do you feel like, is it that you want to be called helpful or you want to be thought of as helpful? Like what do you feel is like behind that?
Well, for like, in general, I guess like I would always rather inconvenience myself than like have somebody else be inconvenienced, because then it like makes me uncomfortable. Like I'd rather be the one that's like going out of my way. And because then I'm like, oh my, no, like, oh, I feel really bad that like they had to do that.
Oh, so there are ways at it. You'll feel bad. You'll feel some kind of guilt.
Yeah.
So you're learning to.
That it's like, it's okay for other people to like go out of their way for you.
In this case, to deal with their own fucking problem.
Oh, yeah.
With the key.
Yeah. Like with this, it was like kind of an almost like insane thought for me to even like feel like I wanted to get involved.
Wow, this is an interesting insight. I'm happy we dug into that. I want to keep chewing on that.
Yeah.
I ain't got that impulse at all.
Really?
No. I mean, I have different impulses, but not like where I would volunteer to help someone with a key or something like that to make their life easier at my own expense. No, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, that example is like really out there. But like in general, like I'd always rather like be the one to like drive further because like I'm not inconveniencing people. Like it's even like, you know, I feel some like guilty that like you have to come out here, but I'm like, I have to drive a lot of places a lot of times. So like I'm trying not to feel like super guilty about it, but I've always been that way of like, but then a lot of times I end up getting resentful towards the other person that I'm the one putting in more effort.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. Shannon, diving deep.
Oh, having a little therapy session here.
Shannon world. You're visiting it. You're learning about it. AITA for ghosting someone for eating my soup. Very enjoyable discussion. Look, OP, you don't owe this girl a fucking cooked meal.
Yeah, no. And because that's the other thing too, is like what she said at the end, like she probably just wants you to cook for her. Like it's like she keeps hitting her up on like her IG stories that are like of her homemade meals. And that's when she's like, oh, well, can I come over? It's not like I had so much fun with you. Like it feels amazing to like have a friend in the city. I'm feeling like I don't have anyone here and I thought we had a really good time. It's just like, oh, can I come over and you cook for me?
Yep. Yeah, no, it's also the gracelessness of some of these people. There's no level of like, I enjoyed her company. They don't even bother to bullshit you. I think, OP, you're torturing yourself. Like you didn't sign a contract saying you're going to cook this girl a meal. She gave you the ick. AITA for ghosting someone for eating my soup. I'm ready to say NTA and Rachel needs to.
Yeah, she needs to learn not to wear her roommate's clothes.
I don't remember that part. Anyway.
And also block her from your stories. I really think that would be a good solution.
I think I'm going to start doing that. I haven't done that part. I'll kind of ghost people's responses, but I never thought about just blocking. They don't need to see it.
No. I've done that with people, and it's not really with people that I know, but it would be like, it's usually like random men that like find my Instagram and follow me and like would always respond.
Hustle, yeah.
And so I just block them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose that follower count. You know what I'm saying?
Right. As I was saying,
just
it's like a subtle
block them from your story and they have no idea.
Yeah. Guys, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate 5 stars. Make sure you follow us. Shannon is doing an unbelievable job on our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube shorts. We're getting amazing numbers on YouTube now. It's really cool to see. So if you want to watch the pod, you can watch me and Shad.
Shannon.
Have our discussion-roo. Plenty of bonus episodes on Patreon. Great Christmas gift. Check it out. AITA, patreon.com/AITA pod. Submit reddit.com/r/AITA pod. Let's wrap this thing up, Shannon.
Yeah. And listen on Spotify, honey.
We love that Spotify. You know, Spotify has audiobooks now.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I've been loving it.
That.
There's a book.
Wait, are they just included in the membership?
It's just included in the premium. And so I picked up this book. You know, I love my self-development books.
Yes.
This book is called 101 Essays or 100 Essays That'll Change the Way You Think.
Yes, I've heard of it.
And I've been loving it. It has like a lot of topics that I like, creativity and relationships and stuff like that.
And the essays are from different people?
No, it's all by, I believe her name is Breon West.
Got it.
So the funny thing is though, so one of the essays is titled like things that you'll grow out of in your 20s. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess this is kind of weird for a 30-year-old to be listening to this. Like it's clearly written for 20-year-olds.
Right.
But then I was listening to it.
I could still.
And I forgot how I was worded it, but it was just sort of like, now one thing you ladies are going to come to understand. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't know. I guess I'm a lady in my 20s listening to this book.
Oh, it's meant for women?
I think it's meant for women in their 20s is the target audience. It doesn't say that anywhere.
Wait, that's interesting that it's not in like the description or anything.
No. I was like,
well,
okay.
Are they valuable?
I'm finding it great, and it's cool because like not all of them interest me. So because it's 100 essays, so it's like you just kind of go through and
which
find
ones are resonating.
Some are some bangers. Some are some bangers.
Okay,
so
I'll have to do
yeah,
it.
she's good.
Well, it's kind of like the book that I read to get me to quit drinking. It's called Quit Like a Woman.
Oh, I didn't know you used a book. That's a different book. I don't know that one.
Yeah, she has a company called The Tempest, and it's basically like a different version of AA. Like there's also like you can really join and like do the program and stuff like that. But hers is all about more like practicing sobriety, not just like, you know, AA is kind of black and white with like, I'm 1 day sober. Like you can be 9 years sober, then you mess up one day, and then like the next
you
day
gotta reset.
sober.
Yeah, it's
like,
a little draconian. Sure.
And she's not like, I did quit cold turkey, but like her method is like, you don't have to quit cold turkey. Like you're practicing sobriety and like cutting down basically. But anyway, all of that to say, I thought it was interesting, the title of the book, because I didn't think like there was parts of it that were geared like specifically to women, but because I had a lot of men reach out to me after I got sober, and women too, but men being like, oh, like, do you have any tips? And I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, I would still recommend this book. Like, even though it's like, I just thought like the title kind of like limited her audience a little bit.
I think that's an interesting question of, you know, are you limiting or are you targeting?
Right.
You know, because maybe you wouldn't have read it to begin with because you were like, oh, I'm a woman. This could be for me.
True. Like it could have made sales better.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a paradox. There's another book I read called, I think it's called You're Enough, or like You're More Than Enough. And it's kind of targeted at low self-esteem. And the cover is pink. It's very clearly targeted at women.
Oh, really? Wow. But it was good?
It was pretty good. I needed it at that time in my life. I was like, my self-esteem was at like -15. This was a point when I remember for the first time in my memory, I told myself that I'm proud of myself, which was a thought I'd never let myself have. And I started sobbing and shit. So I had a lot to process. Anyway, I'm going to cry. Let's wrap this thing up, folks.
Okay. AITA for formally reporting a neighbor before having a conversation. One of the homes directly across from me on the main street installed security floodlights in the driveway. I noticed because I was awoken at 1 a.m. with my room flooded with light.
No.
I instantly panicked and thought a helicopter searchlight was shining through the window. I looked out my window to discover a light so piercing and bright that it hurt my eyes. The light proceeded to kick on and off all night long.
No.
This is likely due to the numerous stray cats in the area setting off the motion sensor. The lights flashing on and off is jarring and wakes me up every single time, even with the curtains drawn, as the light is so bright and directional that it illuminates the parameter of my window. By the second night, I was fed up and began Googling city laws. I discovered that it is a violation of light trespassing and nuisance for numerous reasons. One being that the motion lights must be disabled after 11 p.m. and 2 lights cannot unreasonably shine into another residence. I also found a form for submitting a formal complaint, which I completed in less than a couple of minutes, including photo evidence. When a coworker had inquired why I had been looking so tired, ooh, a little rough, I told them the full story and they flipped it on me. They asked why I couldn't just go over and have a conversation with the neighbor first, as they were sure it wasn't intentional. The reality is there's a building and 2 streets between this home and my place. I'm not one to approach neighbors unannounced, let alone enter someone's private property to strike up a conversation. I have no authority, and I pay taxes to an entire city that has authority and is on a payroll and far more skilled and equipped to handle the situation. I justified submitting a quick online form was far less confrontational, more effective, and definitely more time efficient. AITA?
Really interesting situation. I've been kind of chewing on this concept, and I'm going to try to launch it here. I don't know how it's going to go, but I guess I just am, as I've gotten older, I just like have a lot less interest in intention as an excuse. It's like, well, whether or not it was intentional, it was definitely thoughtless. Like, I'm sorry, but you know how lights work. They are very bright, and you probably should have picked up by now that really bright lights wake people up. It's almost like we sleep with them off.
I know.
It's like, so I don't really care if you're like, oh, I didn't mean to. I was just trying to light it up for safety purposes. Yeah, but you failed to be conscientious of the fact that other fucking people are affected by your behavior, which isn't something I should have to fucking explain, dog.
Yep, totally. Actually, one of these guys in my acting class was having like a very long battle. I think it was going to the courts and stuff, but when the SoFi Stadium was built, he lives near it. The lights from the stadium are so intensely bright that they like were shining into his room, like causing a headache, and like everyone in the neighborhood was like, you know, teaming up to like fight against SoFi, and like it was going to court and stuff. Like it was a whole thing. I don't know how it ended or anything like that, but it was like months long he was dealing with this.
I mean, for that situation, it's like laughable. It's like, really, you guys built a giant stadium with massive sound and light equipment, and you didn't think about how that would affect the neighbors?
I know.
I mean, it shouldn't even be legally possible, so that's the best I can do for them.
Yeah.
But it's like, you fucking morons. Like,
because it's right next to the Forum too. But the Forum's like all inside lighting. Like SoFi is like a wait, is that where they play football?
It's
an open stadium.
Sure. It's seats outside.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yes, I guess you could have gone and talked to them, but like you kind of just troubleshooted the issue.
I think so. And it's like, well, you took a basically cold and impersonal and thoughtless approach to installing your surveillance light. So how about I respond with a cold approach to it waking me up?
Right. Like, it's not like they, went around to the neighbors and were just like, hey, we're concerned with like this alleyway. We want there to be a light when it comes on because like people have been stealing from people and stuff. So like, I would totally understand that if they had taken some awareness in setting it up.
Of course.
So then I would totally get of like, whoa, like I came to you and then you just straight up went to the city without talking to me about it first. Like we could solve the problem together.
Yeah.
In this scenario, it's like you were saying, they're being thoughtless, and especially because the form was like so quick and like convenient for you. I can't blame you. Like we were just talking about like adding more things to your own plate is just, not a good way to go in the world.
Yeah, I don't want to have a conflict. You might be unstable. Health. After all, what you did was sort of, the whole premise of this is that you were being thoughtless and that you don't think about other people and how your actions affect other people. So why should I think anything good about you and how you're going to handle this confrontation?
Yep.
There's nothing good about what you did. I mean, I'm trying to think of an example. I guess I just feel like, especially in this case too, whereas, we've talked a lot about calling the cops on people. You can get into an escalated situation. Obviously, there's a huge racial element, but you know, if it was a noise complaint, you know, it's like, this is something you want to resolve now. It doesn't involve an installation. You know, calling the cops can be excessive. You want to give them a chance to rectify it. It's also the fastest and most expedient way.
Right.
In this case, this felt like the fastest and most expedient way. I feel like this is clean, and I am normally an advocate of have a conversation, but I'm trying to think of an example. It'd be like, yeah, if you like installed a, you know, a giant mirror that reflected light, like this is pretty similar to that. You install a giant. I mean, how can you can't explain this to someone? Like, yeah, obviously that's going to affect other people, bro.
Yeah. I mean, also, so I have like a question, I guess, is like, so if you complain to the city, are they going to give this person a ticket?
Yeah.
They will.
A fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then have them solve the problem.
Yeah, they would probably just repeatedly fine you, and then if you didn't take the hint, then they could probably like file some kind of.
But just repeatedly fine you if you don't solve the problem right away.
I mean, I don't know exactly how it would play out, but yeah, I would say something like that. You get a fine, and then you would get a bigger fine, and then you would get a bigger fine, and eventually, like, it would probably hit some kind of point where it's like, we're going to manually remove it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the only thing I can be like kind of understanding, where her coworker was like, well, you could have just gone and had a conversation with them. Like, you didn't have to get the city involved and then fine them. But like, I guess still like what we were saying, it's like they weren't really being thoughtful. And honestly, there is also like a world where like they didn't realize that it's like coming on and off all night, and like they had
you bought a
right
motion
setting.
sensor light. It's just like,
yeah,
how I mean, it's kind of like, it kind of goes back to what I'm saying. It's like, well, if you have a lack of foresight mixed with a lack of empathy, like, why do I all of a sudden have to put it on my to-do list to teach you about how lights work and motion sensors work? You're the one who bought the fucking thing.
Yeah. And also too, like, you don't know them. So like you could, I mean, it's probably rare that you're going to like be getting into a situation where, but I mean, it's not that rare that it could turn into some kind of a fight.
Yeah. Or if you're a woman and now it's some gruff guy, like, that could get scary real fast. And like, what if you just don't want to do it? It's like, now I have it to do. It's just.
And also, yeah, it is kind of, I mean, it is difficult to confront people just in general, like, especially when it's a neighbor. Yeah, you know, it is kind of, then you have to see them, and it like, I always have the hardest time confronting people about things. Like, I've definitely gotten better, but like, I remember with like a roommate back in the past, this is a different one, but I had to tell her like I was moving out. Or actually a couple of times when I've had to tell my roommates I'm moving out, I'd be like pacing in my room, like sweating and shaking, like,
oh my
having
God,
to tell them. Like, I would literally be having to like hype myself up to be like, I'm gonna move out. Like, even the smallest of confrontations.
We're learning so much. I think we're wrapping this thing up, but we could dive into that.
Yeah.
But wait, this was not a situation where they did anything wrong.
I just was straight up like moving in with another friend, like to Venice. I was moving to Venice. I just wanted to move somewhere else.
What was going through your head that breaking this news, like, were they like, okay, like what was there?
They were just like, okay.
And you were like, I'm sorry, I have to move.
Yeah.
And they're like okay, not a problem. Like, it was like that energy.
Yeah.
So when you were pacing, what was your fear, that they would have an adverse reaction? Or
wasn't even like their reaction that I was worried about. It was like, well, I mean, I guess in a way, like kind of like letting them down. I mean, you know, then that adds something to their plate. Like, they have to get another roommate. That does suck. Like, so it's like kind of inconveniencing them, I suppose. And then also just having to have that interaction, like, period, like, would just always terrify me. So yeah, I was like, well, I would be like, I was pacing in my room, like, okay, you can do it, like, just go and do it. And then I would like head to the door and be like, no, I can't do it. This is like 10 years ago. I'm not like,
you feel like you've grown from that.
Oh yeah. Because I've had to confront you about things, and it's never really that scary for me. Like, a little bit. Like,
you usually don't confront me though. Usually I say, hey, I can tell you're mad. What's wrong? I've
set up calls before.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've gone a lot better about being more honest with like my feelings and stuff. But I do have to a little bit, like, I am definitely like a little nervous before. But I'm way better than I used to. I'm not like pacing and like sweating and stuff.
I know, but that one is like it's like so minor. I don't know.
I know.
It's like so within your rights.
I know.
You know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Mind of Shannon. We'll have to keep exploring it, you know.
I don't know, guys.
Nonetheless, I think we're lined up here. I don't think there's anything else to really say. I kind of just feel like this guy's being, oh yeah, I was going to liken this to dogs. You got a loud dog that's barking. Like, I can't, like, how would I think that you're a good person when I have to go to your house and explain that a loud barking dog is annoying? Like, you're obviously being obtuse and unempathetic and stupid. Like, because it's convenient for you. You're not thinking about other people. You're not thinking at all.
Yeah.
You're being thoughtless and self-centered. It's like, so I don't want to have that conversation with you.
Right. Well, I think also with dogs, like, it's kind of more difficult because it's usually a more emotionally charged thing too, for them at least.
Not my baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're also like kind of, I guess, like parent shaming them in a way, because it's like, because you're kind of being like, you haven't been able to control your dog. Like,
well, if you word
you
it
need
like
to get
that,
them trained. Yeah. I mean, I think no matter what you say, it still could kind of feel like a little more personal.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying though. In that case, if like somebody got, or like, was that in this situation, or was that on the bonus? But you know, somebody was talking about a loud neighbor who had a noisy dog, and it's like,
and a noisy kid too,
and a noisy kid, and it's kind of like, if you're like, especially like a dog barking, it's like, well, you didn't put any thought into the idea that your dog might be barking all day. Like you didn't think about these things.
Thoughtless.
And it gets to a point where it's like, you know, we're all adults here. So like, why would I owe you an in-person thing over stuff that like any reasonable person would be able to see and account for and would think about? It's like, so now I have to be the bigger person with an insane stranger. Like, I just think, even though I think having a conversation can be the most expedient way, it's kind of like, just the fact that you have to have some conversations is kind of like, no, I don't want to, because that's not something that should have to be explained, that other people exist.
And like they said, that was a good point, is like, yeah, I pay taxes to people that are on the payroll that have the skills that are equipped to handle this situation. Like, that's their job. So I'll just let them know and they can solve it.
AITA for reporting a neighbor before having a conversation. I think we agree wholeheartedly. NTA and the light guy is.
I think so, yeah.
Guys, thanks so much for listening. I mean, God, I think I need to write down for our next episodes. We got some more Shannon probing to do. I'm obsessed.
We're just going to have a full therapy session with me.
Yeah, well, it's great. You've got a lot of insight into your own behavior. You know, it's just interesting to think about how people tick.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Guys, much love. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.